6.1 Notational Analysis by Harry Baker. Assignment scenario. What is biomechanics? So biomechanics is the sports science field that applies the laws of mechanics and physics to human performance in order to gain a greater understanding of performance in athletic events through modelling, stimulation and measurements, as you can see in the picture of an athlete bowling in cricket. They use the laws and principles grounded in physics that apply to human movements. Athletes and coaches can make wide-ranging decisions for developing efficient sports techniques. So quantifying and understanding movements can help to diagnose problems which might limit sporting potential or risk long-term injury. With close athletes and coaches consultations, movement technique and sporting equipment may be altered to modify movement patterns. The impact this can have on athletes' performance is significant. Areas where biomechanics is applied is to either support performance or solve issues in sports or exercise. The identification of the optimal technique for enhancing sports performance, the analysis of the body loading to determine the safest method of performing a particular sport or exercise task, the assessment of muscular recruitment and loading, the analysis of sports and exercise equipment, so this could be shoes or the surface or rackets. So overall, biomechanics either enhances performance or reduces the risk of injury. So notational analysis. Hughes 2004 said that notational analysis is the objective way of recording performance so that the key elements of that performance can be quantified in a valid and consistent manner. So notational analysis provides a factual record on components of a sporting match. It will provide records of such aspects of a game such as pass completion in football, ace percentage in tennis, or how many times the game line is broken in rugby. A list of measurable performance markers are established, as well as the study of movement patterns, strategies and tactics in a team. So it's basically the gathering and analysing of information that has been gained whilst watching and observing a sports performance in a competitive situation. So evolution of data collection analysis. So the first sport to be analysed was squash by Sanderson in 1977, as it was a simple game and one which could be easily recorded because it was played indoors and a well lit and defined area. It took about 5 to 8 hours to record, so there was 30 pages of information, which took about 40 to 50 hours to analyse the data from just that one match. So as you can see, as you would know, there's massive data and it's hard to use. So and Hughes 1987 used a computer and compared successful and unsuccessful performances. So the rally lengths went from 20 to 12 as they could analyse the games more sufficiently, and now technology has evolved so much that lots of clubs will use it for their team and other teams to see how good they are, so they can analyse and make improvements when needed. Therefore, it's evolved massively and it's used all the time to analyse performance to see where teams are successful and unsuccessful. So performance criteria is what you can analyse in a chosen sport, and it's the key factors important for a successful performance. The definition is that they are validative statements which specify what is to be assessed and the required level of performance. So the table shows some performance criteria from American football players. It can be for specific players or team focused. However, performance criteria can vary in the chosen sport. For example, distance covered will be totally different from a point guard in basketball to a goalkeeper in football. So it can change depending on the sport and the role a certain player has in that team. So in netball, it would be different passes, shots, and this would be different to dances. It would be positions, pliés, pirouettes, and splits. Therefore, each sport has their own performance criteria. In performance criteria, there are 3 factors which you can analyse, which are movement, tactical, and technical. So movement, so Riley and Thomas, 19 76 analysed the movement of English First Division soccer players, so specific work rates of the different positions, distance covered in the game, and the percentage time of each position in each of the different area classifications. So it became standard to compare to. There was large data over time, so this meant that it was behaviour norms. It was very time consuming, but now it's computerized and effective, and coaches you can use it. And modeling performance and movement can now have specific training programs to be developed to improve the movement and patterns and fitness to improve overall performance. This is a schematic movement of a football player throughout a game of football. So tactical. This is recognizing tactical patterns of play which vary at different levels, maturations, or technical prowesses. Coaching needs to vary accordingly which knowledge of the opposition's tactics. This football image shows the set play to try and beat the opponent. So technical analysis is to define quantitatively where technique fails or excels, has very practical uses for coaches and sports scientists. This type of analysis is typically shown as frequency or as a percentage attempts, successes, and therefore fails. So this picture shows a technical progression of a serve in tennis. So basketball performance criteria, so blocks, defensive rebound, offensive rebound, steals, assists, fouls, layups, turnovers, 2 points, 3 points, and free throws. So the highlighted ones in reds are the ones that we'll be looking at in more detail and breaking the skill down into its components. And we'll be specifically looking at forward in basketball. Defensive rebounds. A defensive rebound occurs when the defense obtains the possession of the ball after a missed shot by the offense. So this is very relevant for a forward, as they tend to be the people that fight for rebounds, as they are usually the bigger people on the court. Offensive rebounds, which are rebounds secured by an offensive player after his or her teammate has missed a shot. When this occurs, the team has a chance to secure second chance points, which are especially valuable. Again, this is very relevant for the same reasons as a defensive rebound. Layups. So the shots taken whilst the player is in their stride and taking 2 steps, laying the ball up near the basket and using one hand to bounce it off the backboard into the basket. So this is also very relevant for a forward, as they tend to receive a pass into the key where they are able to take the 2 steps and make a layup. Turnovers. So a turnover is where you lose or gain possession of the ball in a game, and this can be done by out of bounds, fouls, or throwing it out of play. This is not so relevant for this position, as usually the point guards turn the ball over as they have to dribble the ball around the court more. But it is relevant sometimes for forwards, as they do turn the ball over when they are attacking the hoop. 2-point shots, so shots that are made anywhere inside the 3-point line. This is very relevant for a forward, as this is the range that they're usually best at shooting, near the basket, compared to a 3-point shot, which most forwards don't normally shoot. Method of notational analysis. So the method that I conducted was a pre-made data collection sheet with the chosen criteria already on it, as you can see, as this was my sheet on the right. Understanding it so you know where to fill it out quickly while watching. Watch it live and be able to see the person at all times so you don't miss anything. Make a frequency tally and be able to analyze the data. Other methods that could be used include filming it and watching the video back to fill in the data off software could be used, where you send the footage away and a company fills in the data for you. However, this is a more costly method. Movement graphs and GPS tracking on players can also be used to track the player's movement to see if they are in the correct areas of the court or not. However, this is a very costly process. So evidence. So this is me filling out my schematic view, and that is my schematic view, and evidence of me collecting the data. Data collection sheets, so these are the two data collection sheets for the two individuals. Evaluation of notation analysis method of performance analysis. So advantages of notation analysis, so feedback, so players can watch themselves back, which is different from playing. It's objectively, so it can reduce time. It can remove some subjectivity from players and coaches. Software, so it can reduce time and enhance presentation of data. Percentages, so it can highlight exactly what percent of the total performance criteria are successful and failures. Tactical tendencies can overcover tactical tendencies, strengths and weaknesses that may have been overlooked in both of your own side and your opposition's, so to inform on your own defense and offensive tactics. Coaches planning, so it can aid the coach's planning process. If a weakness or tendency is highlighted in your own performance, it is possible to structure sessions to program to improve upon them. Plans for both the short term and long term can be created. Reassessment tools, by using the same performance markers, can be identified. Improvement can be done with limited equipment, as it's well advanced and it's role specific. Disadvantage is time, money to purchase the software, or even the video cameras will cost money versus a pen and paper. Skills obtained, so observers to collect the data need familiarity with data collection sheets. Reliability of the information collected. Ambiguity, so in some outcomes it didn't give the whole picture. It doesn't give you the detail about why, only how. You need depth, knowledge and understanding to do it, and it's generalized, so it's misleading, and that relates to the position as well as the role specific for an advantage.